Aloha and good morning. Over the past few weeks, we've seen a dramatic increase in COVID-19 cases on our island. With an average of 132 cases a day, the Delta variant has undoubtedly swept through our community and has begun to inundate our hospitals and healthcare systems. Just yesterday, 20 of the island's 24 ICU beds were full, 16 of which were occupied by COVID patients, with 9 requiring ventilators. There were also 57 additional hospital beds on our island occupied due to COVID. After visiting each of the major hospitals on our island last week, the resounding sentiment from the administrators, the doctors, nurses, custodial staff, and others in the hospital was that we have reached capacity. We've reached a tipping point where further inundation could lead our hospitals to an inability to adequately care for non-COVID trauma patients. People like me who had heart attacks, strokes, crash victims, and others could go without a bed if we continue to allow COVID to spread at the current rate throughout our community. The good news is that there are many steps we can all take to slow the spread and keep our community safe. That said, I have signed the Mayor's COVID-19 Emergency Rule number 17 in concurrence with Governor Ige's 21st Emergency Proclamation, which takes effect immediately. This will reduce gathering sizes on our island to 10 people indoors and 10 people outdoors congregating together. We will also be ramping up our enforcement efforts to ensure the safety of our community. Our Hawaii Police Department's officers have been given the authority to issue $250 citations to all those found in violation of any of the COVID-19 rules outlined in Mayor's COVID-19 Emergency Rule number 17 and Governor Ige's 21st Emergency Proclamation. Furthermore, anyone found in violation of breaking quarantine will be fined $500, no questions asked. At this point, we have reached community spread, and the best way that we can reduce our chances of spreading the virus is to ensure that we continue to all do the little things to keep our community safe. Also outlined in our emergency rules is a stricter guidances on businesses, bars, restaurants, and places of worship to ensure that the patrons are properly distanced with clear COVID-19 protocols and procedures in place. We've also made changes to our parks rules, which I will call upon our parks director, Maurice Messina, to address. Before I do that, though, I would like to encourage all of you to do what is best for you, your ohana, and everyone here on the island. If you feel sick, stay home. Limit your gatherings as much as possible. Take care of your own immune system. Wear your mask, wash your hands, and distance. The sooner we can beat this virus, the sooner we can get back to doing the things that we love to do. Stay safe and mahalo. If I can bring up Mr. Messina.
Thank you, Mayor. Aloha, everyone. Initially, the mayor and the Mayor's Rules Committee was discussing the complete closures of all parks and beaches on the island because of the community spread and what we're seeing with COVID-19. Then the mayor came back to us and asked us to come up with a plan that would allow people to still get their exercises, people to still be on the beaches, being out in the sun, being out in the fresh air. And what we have today is the culmination of those rules, working with the mayor and his rules committee, among others. The first thing is we're going to be limiting all the gathering sizes, just like the mayor said, not only island-wide, but specifically in our parks and beaches. On our beaches, we're seeing a lot of gatherings, so we're going to ask that everyone remain in pods of 10. All those pods are separated by 20 feet. We're also going to prohibit tents and canopies at the beaches and parks. This is yet another attempt to prevent the gathering sizes. On our fields where sports are played, we're going to ask that everyone remain in pods of 10 as well. An example of that will be Pop Warner football. So you'll have like 8 players, 2 coaches in one pod, say your offensive pod, 8 players, 2 coaches in your defensive pod. And although you're not going to be able to play games right now, we are hoping that you'll be able to still get your exercise, get your planning in place for when these restrictions can finally come out. Keep the kids physically active. And we're going to, right now, rescind all the permits that we have in our parks and on our fields, because most of those plans and those permits were for the larger gathering sizes of 25 and 75. We ask that you contact either the Recreation Division or our main office to get more information on that. We're reducing our camping sizes down to 10 per permit. We are also going to be canceling all our pavilion rentals right now. We ask that everybody please do your best and honor these rules because it's for our safety. We're going to be keeping the golf course open for right now. We have a good staff out there that can monitor everyone, and we can keep our sizes down to foursomes. For our swimming pools, right now we're just going to be allowing lap swim. However, we're going to pause all the team swims and everything until we can get a better plan in place because of this COVID surge and what we're seeing at our pools. So we ask for the teams and everyone to have a little bit of patience with us while we develop these plans and these strategies. And as we can open those back up, we'll let everyone know. The Pana Eva Equestrian Center and Zoo, anyone with horse stalls, please go out and take care of your animals. We're going to cancel all big events there, rodeos and whatnot. But please continue to take care of your animals out there. And once you're finished with your animal, we ask that you go home. At the zoo, we are going to be requiring masks indoors and outdoors at the zoo. We're also going to be closing down the playground at the zoo and the pavilions. We've already stopped halted the petting zoo for right now. But we feel with these measures, with these hard measures, that we can get behind this and get over this. If you have any questions, please let us know. We're going to do our best to work with each and every one of the teams, sports, people at the beaches, to ensure that everyone can remain in the pods of 10, like we said, and we'll help you as best as we can come up with plans to figure that out. Again, if you have any questions, please call our main office or our recreation office or contact your local recreation gym, and we'll answer the questions as best we can. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to now begin to take questions. If anybody has a question, please. Okay, we have Mahealani Richardson from Hawaii News Now. The question is for Mayor Roth. Mahel, please.
Hi, Mayor Roth.
Morning.
Good morning. Since the tipping point has been reached, can you explain your decision not to opt for a full shutdown for Hawaii Island? And can you also explain your conversation with Governor Ige when he had concerns that shutting down beach parks would drive gatherings indoors, which could make the situation worse?
So as far as a full island shutdown or a full state shutdown, all those are things that the governor can do. I don't believe that the mayors have the ability to completely shut down anything. But there are a lot of concerns going both ways on that. We know that we have a lot of people who took a lot of financial hits last year. We had a whole bunch of things in place for unemployment, for things that would help the businesses that right now we may not have in place moving forward. So it's kind of a balancing that we have to take a look at. As far as the discussions with the governor on the full closures, actually those were more discussions that we ended up having with Department of Health and some of our doctors. Prior to this, we were looking at the areas where we had a lot of people gathering. We came up with a better plan to allow people to go to the beach, get vitamin D, which is something important, allow them to exercise, but at the same time, figure out a way that we can enforce the mandates of these, crowding mandates and keep people down to groups of 10. And that's why we're prohibiting the tents and other things like that. And it gives the police an ability to actually do some enforcement.
Okay, next question again is for Mayor Roth from Stephanie Salmons, Hawaii Tribune Herald.
Hi, Mayor Roth. What specifically did the governor change from what you initially proposed?
Well, actually, it wasn't really so much that the governor had changed. It was through conversations, like I said, through Department of Health. The governor, we did discuss it. Department of Health asked for some time to go over some of our rules. And so really the bigger change was coming out with a way of dealing with our beach parks and some of our outdoor locations. And that's how we came up with the 10 after discussing with Department of Health and some local doctors as well.
Okay, we have a question from Allison Schaefers, not sure who it's directed to. She's with the Star Advertiser.
Aloha, it's for the mayor. You recently asked Governor David Ige to begin requiring pre-testing for all travelers, vaccinated or not. Do you still want to take that step, and why? And has the governor rejected this request, or is it still under consideration?
Well, I think the governor is looking at a whole bunch of things. I've heard Lieutenant Governor Josh Green bring up some issues that the Attorney General may have had. We still believe that it is the right thing to do to have both pre-testing and post-testing. So there's still conversations that are relating to that. The reason why we wanted to do that is we see numbers of, our numbers going up. We know that a lot of people have been going to places like Las Vegas and maybe Texas and other places and coming back with the virus. Even though it's in the community, we want to do what we can to make sure that we can keep those numbers down as low as possible. And we believe that pre and post testing would be very helpful to do that. When we did the post testing before, we were able to catch a lot of people at the airport with COVID, have them quarantine. And so we know that had worked in the past, and it probably saved a lot of lives. So that's why we're looking at both the pre and post testing.
Okay, we have another question for Mayor Roth from Mahealani Richardson, Hawaii News Now.
Thanks, Iris. My question is, the Lieutenant Governor has said that his threshold for calling for a lockdown would be 500 hospitalizations statewide. What is your personal threshold for Hawaii Island to call for stricter mandates?
Well, throughout this pandemic, what we've been looking at is what's happening at the hospitals. And we're just about to be there. 500 is the state number. When we start seeing what they're seeing in Honolulu, where people are waiting in ambulances and stuff, that may be too late. So we've been having discussions for the last couple of weeks about stricter mandates and a complete shutdown. We've even started having some of those conversations. Nobody really wants to get there where we're shutting down the islands. But if these numbers keep on going up and our hospitals keep on going in the direction that they're going, we're going to start to see a lot of deaths, and I think we may have to do that. But again, if the community, all of us, take responsibility, do those little things, wear our masks, do our socially distancing, even for those people who, believe it's not the vaccinations, the keeping, your immunity in good check. Every little thing helps.
Okay, again, we have a question from Stephanie Sammons, Hawaii Tribune Herald. For Mayor Roth.
Mayor, can you talk more about enforcement? When will that begin? What will that look like? Will there be officers like specifically patrolling for violators, or will they respond to complaints, or is there something else? How will that work?
So the police department is working on a plan. They have talked about putting some officers on overtime, but this takes effect immediately. And, what we expect is that we'll probably have police people, the community, doing some policing themselves, calling the police and saying, hey, look, we got this party going on next door, or, all these people that are here. The police are able to now give citations, and that is, according to the police and prosecutors, that will be a big help. Prior to this, they had to arrest people. Again, if you're arresting people, you're taking an officer off the street. It's a very limited number of people that you can deal with at that time. With citations, it's kind of like a traffic ticket, and so they can enforce with a wider net, shall we say.